All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down and do a current events and Q&A for you guys and gals. Let me get a quick community tab post up. Let's see if we can make this flow. All right. All right. Get this up, and then I will jump over to the topic with a little bit of information that I have. Connor, what's going on, bro? How you doing? I thought I would just briefly, yeah, you are first. Did you get a notice, or did you just happened to see it pop up? Because you're in the first minute, so I'm going to assume you got a notification. But let's get over to the topic. So good, we got notification. We're early in the evening. I got nothing else pressing that has to be done today as far as work goes. So I can sit in here really as long as I want. We had that fire coffee chat. I thought I would briefly cover this topic, and then of course people will be asking the whole time later. So for those who saw the original video, I got notified that I went and saw the stuff. Yeah, all the mugshots, all the police stuff is real. It's real court stuff. Ian got recently arrested, charged with 2 felonies and a major misdemeanor. And it looks pretty bad. He allegedly basically robbed an elderly couple in a grocery store parking lot. So he got charged with robbery. He got charged with a felony assault because he pushed the woman down and took her purse. This supposedly happened, tried to have a conversation with him. It got aggressive. He allegedly pushed her down, took her purse, pushed the husband away, but he got charged with a felony assault for pushing her down, the burglary, and then he was caught trying to use the credit card a couple miles away, like an hour or so later. He was caught trying to use the credit card out of the purse, and so that was like a separate misdemeanor. He got into a whole bunch of stuff. Now, his supposed original trial was supposed to be here on the 3rd. I don't have any info as if that went through, but he had been arrested, charged, bond was set at $25,000. And keep in mind, Ian and I have history. Ian is the reason I even started a YouTube channel. He talked me into it. Said, hey, no, dude, you should definitely consider the channel. So he's the one who talked me into it. We're mutual friends to Alan Aragon. We had some overlapping social circles online, and groups and stuff. So, we were all involved in different group chats and things. And then I knew him then also on Facebook. And, I later helped him when he was going through some hard times. I gave a small money donation. I also agreed at one point to coach him. We did a video call. I said, look, I'll coach you for free. It'll help get you back out there. When I was more popular at the time. So let's do some collab work. I'll coach you. I won't charge you. And let's just document it all. And let's get you some gains and get everything going. And he agreed to it and then backed out of it, and then had his addictions and alcohol and everything got worse. So the updates as far as that is not so much with the current stuff, because I'm not really getting any new current info. It's just kind of at a standstill, I guess, until they figure out what they're doing with a trial. But he's looking at up to 20 years on one of those charges, worst case. The problem is it turns out Ian has some priors, and this I didn't fully know about. Some people did some digging. Some stuff got sent over to me, apparently. It looks like Ian has 2 previous DUIs. He also has like a failure to appear. He also has a criminal trespass. I guess I'm not sure if it's his mom or a close family member filed a criminal trespass on him. He had a domestic violence charge for breaking some furniture and a scuffle in their house later. So he got some sort of domestic violence and a criminal trespass, and he has 2 separate DUIs on 2 separate years with a failure to appear for some fingerprinting or something around it. And apparently it looks like he had another issue where he was having some type of failure to appear right before this current situation just happened with the arrest. It's pretty bad, man. So for those looking for the updates, apparently he had other pending stuff related to the second DUI around the same time this alleged incident happened. So, man, I mean, that's pretty rough, dude. I mean, dude fell pretty far, and it's really quite a sad situation because he comes from a family with money, comes from a family with means. Apparently, His family was paying for everything, giving him a nice place to live in. Well, didn't expect this. I mean, in a way, though, Derek, he went down a really far rabbit hole. Like Ian had gone into the whole Trump derangement syndrome, extreme alcoholism. Like he and I got into some conflicts over some even Trump related stuff because I refused to disavow Trump or whatever. He got mad at me, type thing. So he got angry at me, got belligerent with me on Facebook. I ended up having to block him or whatever at one point, some time back. But he went down a whole Trump derangement route too, while dealing with all his alcoholism and other stuff. So, again, it wouldn't have been expected years ago, but realistically, Ian has never, never done a normal job, normal 9 to 5, regular work ever, anything like that. He's always had, decent life of privilege where he never had to do those things, I guess, with his family. And then he had his internet businesses and everything, and he just dropped the bomb on all of it. But alcoholism, tough disease. He needs to get some mental help. Well, it's too late, Derek. Derek, it's we've said that years ago. It's too late. Okay, you need to be aware of the situation. This is no longer a case of, hey, he can just go get some probation and he can get into a 12-step program and get some help. He just committed multiple felonies with priors. Violent felony. What do you mean? Just go get himself some mental help? What do you mean go get some mental help? He's looking at up to 20 years in prison right now. Bro, he assaulted and robbed an elderly person. Yeah. So Peppermint, I kind of ran down what we know, not so much with the current stuff that's all still pending, all his priors. Someone sent me some stuff, and then I dug into it a little further. He has a bunch of priors. So he apparently was having a complication from his second DUI with the courts when all this happened. Like they were probably going to arrest him. So he has 2 DUIs. He has a minor domestic violence charge and a criminal trespass. Yeah, so his second DUI was 2 years ago, and there was still some pending stuff around it. And there was something to do with a possible failure to appear related to that. So he's got priors. He has up to 3 prior charges of at least serious misdemeanors, if not higher. So he's got a criminal trespass, 2 DUIs, and it looks like a domestic violence related charge. Back in the gym, coach hit up some upper body lifts all last week. So, so his parents, his family paid all his bills. His parent, mom and dad apparently had pretty good income. Like we knew that though, that he came from money. So, and he chose to go down this route. And that's quite sad because all he really had to do was not drink, not screw up. His family were paying his bills. All he had to do was just run his online business. All he had to do was run his social media. Is he mad? No, technically Ian did mess. I'm not going to get into all that though. We had a situation with that. No, I'm not going to go put money on his credit. No, I'm not going to do. I helped him before, but I'm done, dude. Look, I helped him with a small amount of money one time when he was trying to get back on his feet. It was like $50, dude. It wasn't significant. When he was looking to actually get back on his feet correctly. But dude, he's been charged with felonies and he's issues around his second DUI, man. I'm pretty stone cold hard about that, the sobriety thing. Okay. Bro, he just committed a violent felony. I'm not going to go put money on his books, man. Plus our friendship was over. Like the dude went off on me all crazy and I blocked him a year or 2 ago. You know what I mean? The dude got belligerent with me right there on Facebook, like on my profile, not my public fitness page, my friends and family profile. It wasn't really super public at the time. Like I have it more public now because it's a professional profile. But at the time that happened, dude, it was only friends and family were even on my wall. And he got belligerent on my wall in front of my friends and family and client. I mean, I am a bit crazy, but I didn't go up on someone's private stuff with their friends and family, and get into a little scuffle and a tiff. Like he went off on me over something. I'm just like, dude, I'm done. I just blocked him. Like, I'm done. So, it's just like, so why would the guy's now a violent felon? I heard the same, but you kind of see my point. Why would I go put money on his books, dude? I got taxes and stuff to worry about. But that was the thing. Yeah, dude, I gave him money because he was struggling and he looked like he was trying to turn his life around. But then realized I'm a joker. Yeah, but he wasn't joking, Derek. Derek, he got in on my private profile in front of friends and family and got belligerent and insulting. I don't have anything in Bitcoin. I cashed all my Bitcoin out. So I've never did Bitcoin investing. I took Bitcoin and I still take Bitcoin. So people pay me for Bitcoin. I got $130 in Bitcoin last week. I sent it right to my bank account. So, I mean, I've made a few grand in Bitcoin and client consultation payments over time, but I just cash it out. Right. Well, there's a whole different thing. Apparently, his mom evicted him. Apparently, like she served him eviction notice, and then there was a altercation around that. So, um, you know, that's what we know. That's what's in documentation. So he can claim that, but by the same token, the legal stuff says that he got violent after they evicted him. He was evicted formally, like she filed papers and had him evicted. I mean, you've been serving an eviction notice and they put your stuff out on the street. I mean, it's why did they evict him? What happened? We don't know the details, we don't know the details. I don't know the details. You don't know the details, but that's not necessarily, looking good in his favor. Now, we don't know the full relationship with his mother and all that situation, but we know that she paid all his bills a long time. She paid his, gave him a nice place to live, a nice place he was living in. Remember in those videos? That was paid for. His family paid for that. So it's unfortunate that all he had to do was not drink, not be an addict, and run his online business. He had a small coaching business. He had his pages going, had his old YouTube. All he had to do was do that stuff. Continue his online following, run his business, and mooch all his mom, and not drink. That's literally all he had to do. Yeah, we got guys who went through real stuff who didn't. So, I mean, someone should have stepped up and helped him. EJ, people tried. EJ, do you know how many of us tried to step up to help him? I'm not going to name names. Multiple people tried to step up and help him. I tried to step up and help him. I gave him a small amount of money once. I offered him free coaching to help give him some collab work to get his stuff flowing again when I had a lot more outreach. So not only did I give him a small amount of money, it was very small, it was only $50. I offered to coach him for free. I don't know what his best. I have no idea, dude. Nothing significant. Like whatever, a 275 squat, I think is what he got to. But I was going to help him build him up, do some collab work, do some stuff with it, document the coach him for free, help him get everything moving. You know, some other coaches and other people I know, some other mutuals tried to step up and help him. So what do you mean step up and help him, EJ? People tried. How did he respond? Lashed out, acted belligerent. Keep in mind, I'm someone who only tried to help him and gave him money. And then he like insulted and got belligerent on my private profile with the friends and family on it right there. You know, so that my aunts and cousins and people could read him trash talking me. Angry over politics of all things. Okay. That's his response. So nobody else is, and I'm not, other people tried a lot harder than I did, and it didn't work. People tried to step up and help him. He's a grown man. So instead, he assaulted and robbed an elderly couple. No, dude, he's probably going to go to prison. He's been charged with multiple felonies over that. Oh, nobody cares about Big Lenny either. I hope nobody important cares about Big Lenny, but who knows? I saw the minor thing about the Big Lenny in my comments, you know, but I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame because he was a smart guy. He could have done something. He probably could have done something good with his life. He was intelligent. He was educated. He had access to resources. You think he's going to get strong in prison? All things considered, David, do you think in a Georgia prison? Do you think Ian McStruthers, who's in prison for assaulting an elderly lady, looking and talking like Ian McStruthers in a prison in Georgia, his crime, assaulting and robbing a 70-year-old woman. In Georgia, in Atlanta, bro. No, man, I don't think strong is going to be the word in prison. He's not going to have, I don't think he's going to have a real good time, to be fair. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not being hateful. I am simply being realistic. And on top of it, think about his far left political views now. He's going to have to figure, there's only, I'm not trying to say what he's going to have to do, but there's only one group of people who might take him in, who might protect him, but he's far left. Only way he walks out of there without being somebody's, you know, girlfriend is going to be to get a bunch of swastikas tattooed all over himself. And that still don't mean he's not going to be somebody's girlfriend. Right? It still don't mean he's not going to be somebody's girlfriend. I'm just saying, like, he's not going to have a good time in there. But they're not going to have their, do you think they're going to take it? The second he busts out with that, well, Trump is a racist. Trump is a bigot. You know what I mean, dude? Yeah, just saying, guys. I don't think they're going to take him either. I hate to have to say that. I hate for somebody to have to resort to those people for protection, but that's about his only chance. That's about it, dude. Kenneth says, "Can I ask a respectful question related to your new girl? So, what do you want to know about your new girlfriend, bro? I mean, no, we can go off topic. It's fine, Kenneth, within reason. I may not answer it. Maybe you can paint himself black. Oh my God, that won't go well. He could join, dude. He's too. No, he's not. He won't. They're not going to take him either. No, dude, because we don't know. I mean, what are they going to do if? I don't even know what background the woman was he robbed. Figuratively, I speak. I have no idea, man. But it's a bad situation. And like I said, I tried to help him. Other people tried to help him. But what do? You're not sure how racially segregated U.S. prisons? They're very, very, Connor, extremely. Chris, yeah, that's basically the only way he comes. Chris was right. That's the only people who might protect him. But you know what I mean? He has Trump derangement syndrome and all sorts of stuff. He completed. No, that's not. No, dude. Just saying, he's not going to have a good time in there. Yeah. And I'm not, again, let me be clear. This is not a gloating. I don't hate Ian. We were friends at one time. But, and I've tried to help him. It's just, I'm shaking my head at the whole thing. Right? It's a case of me going, damn, dude. Really? He was given a good lot in life. A lot of us even tried to help him later. We tried to help him. People tried. He didn't get his stuff together. But then it's one thing to not get your act together. But dude, assaulted and robbed an old lady. Because of your addiction, because you refuse to get help for your addictions and your alcoholism. I mean, you can see on my face, again, this is not a gloat. I told you so. It's just seriously, dude, really, really. Yeah, he still goes to prison, Alan. Bro, he got charged with 3 different crimes from it. Plus, then her husband. There's 2 victims, technically. So how do you think that works when you commit a felony? Well, if the person forgives you, they just say, well, we're not going to send you to jail for assaulting and robbing an old lady because she just had a good Christian faith, decides to forgive you in the name of Jesus. So we just going to let it go. You think that's how it works, Alan? Well, we're going to let it slide since she's a good Christian woman, as she said. I think Jesus would want me to forgive him. You think the state of Georgia is going to say, well, we think you're right. We're just going to drop the charges and let this one slide. We got him a program and he needs to be squatting every day. The first one carries up to 20 years. Just the first crime alone, considering he has he has priors at this point. The very first one, the aggravated assault of an elderly person, carries up to 20 years in prison. He's looking at 5 to 20 for that one by itself. Then there's the burglary. I'm sorry, the robbery. So that's just the aggravated assault. Then there's the robbery. Then there's the trying to use the stolen credit card the same day. I don't know, man. But we don't know how they're going to stack sentences. What's going to happen if they say, well, you've got some priors. We're going to give you 20 for the first one. We're going to give you 10 for the second one. And then we're going to throw another 2 years on for the third one. We're going to give you 32 years. And then he serves half for good behavior and gets out in 16. How do you know it won't work like that, David? I'm saying it's not good. And the problem is, looking at what they have, it's alleged, but man, the evidence is pretty bad. How do I put this? The police found him immediately and identified him from the video footage in the parking lot. The video cameras identified him without the eyewitness testimony. The video cameras in the parking lot are what they used originally to find him and arrest him. The victims have identified him. In his other charge, he was attempting to use the stolen credit card out of the purse. Like an hour after the altercation, like an hour later, he was caught trying to use it. That's how they grabbed him and caught him in the system and then identified him from the stuff. The guy that they arrested with the credit card was clearly the same guy in the parking lot who committed the assault and robbery. You know, I'm just saying, maybe he's innocent. We're innocent in the U.S. We are innocent till proven guilty. But based upon that data, it's not looking too good. To my knowledge, he has not made bail, that he is still in there. So he's in custody. He's been in custody over a month. Maybe he could collab with Wes Watson. There you go. They could collab together. They have some prison tests together. You know? No, dude, it's not looking good. You got Payne Watson. Yeah, he and Wes Watson, they could do, well, they're not, where's Wes Watson's he's in Florida, right? They're one state apart. They might let them do some YouTube videos together or workout footage together, do some collaboration work. Yeah, maybe get coach some of the lads on the wing to get there we go. Oh man, yeah, some of the lads he meant lads on the wing get their lifts up. I'm just saying, man. Maybe they hit me up when we set up videos and I just coach Ian and Wes Watson long distance from here. They can play hide the pickle together. You know. Oh Lord. Because Wes is, does kind of swing both ways. Apparently that he admitted that is a British slang term. I thought you meant lads. I didn't know that lag. I've never heard that one. Oh God. YouTubers all having these problems, guys. Dropping dead, all going to prison for violent crimes. Callie Muscle give them some point. Hey, there you go. Callie Muscle, they could do some collab. Callie Muscle can help him out. He can give them some pointers. We bring it out. Listen, her. What y'all need to do is get you some top ramen and tuna, right? And then you take that and you season it with some mustard, right? And then you go to the commissary. Because y'all got people out there putting money on your books. You want to get you some tortillas and peanut butter. Now, I'm not going to tell you what we used to do with the peanut butter. But you know, when you've been in prison a while and you've been locked up and you ain't seen a woman for a couple years, you know, when you got these other men's here and you got a jar of peanut butter. I was saying, man, you take that top ramen and the tuna, right? Everybody got quiet on me. Did I cross a line? Did I go too far? Nobody's posted anything in like a minute. Did I go too far, guys? Maybe. Did we go too far? I think I might have. I think people got weird. They're all stunned. Nobody typed anything. Maybe we stunned. Chuck Bash. People are like, Coach, did you really just get? I went too far. You know what? Hold on. Bad coach. Apologize, man. I apologize. That wasn't right of me, man. That wasn't right. I shouldn't have went that far. All right. I used to watch a TV show called 60 Days and used to love it. There was a guy who looked a bit like Ian McCarthy in one of the series. He got punched in the face and dropped out. Yeah, well, unfortunately, he may not be getting out for like 20. He won't be able to just drop out. So, I mean, he might be okay, though, at the end of the day. If he's willing to drop the whole Trump derangement thing, that one group might take him in. You know, maybe Callie Musson could give you, Wes Watson could give you some tips. Maybe if you have to learn how to cup the balls the right way. Realistically, how long do you think he'll be in for? Bro, well, normally we'd be looking up to 10 to 20 for all of it, but he is a white dude with a good family. Although his mom, that may not go well, because his mom might not call for leniency because we have the whole domestic violence thing. You know, I don't know, dude. I really don't know. I have no idea. I mean, realistically, I'm going to guess at least 10. I'm going to predict he probably ends up doing 10. He could get 20 plus, though. Bro, this is the South. This is Peppermint. This is not the UK, man. Bro, it's Georgia. And the victim was an old lady. Like that charge alone, it says on the booking paperwork, that charge alone carries up to 20 years. Let's be clear, with without his priors being factored in, or the other two, which they can stack non-concurrent sentences on that. A worst case scenario, the first charge is 20 years. Okay. First charge is up to 20 by itself. That's he assaulted an elderly woman. He was charged with aggravated assault of an elderly person. His mitigating circumstances might be desperation, alcoholism, drug addiction. But you know what, man? He's not in New York. He's not in California. He's in Georgia. He's in Atlanta. He was arrested by Atlanta PD. He gets put on a jury there for that jury trial instead of a plea bargain. And tries to use mitigating circumstances. Well, I was hooked on pain pills. You got to be on watch. Yeah, I know. Spawn, man, you got to go watch the whole. Bro, you're coming real late to the party. You're real late to the party with this whole discussion. Yeah, he's got to be on watch. Kenneth, you didn't even ask your girlfriend a question. But no, so Peppermint, you got to remember, you're coming from the UK, dude. He's in the South. He's in Georgia. His first felony on the charges right now is up to 20 years. Now, you're thinking UK terms. You're not thinking the South. Yeah. Spawn, you're asking what you got right now. Ian's been charged with. Ian has priors now. He has 2 DUIs. And he has a criminal trespass and a domestic violence on his books. And he was already. They were about to arrest him for a failure to appear for a DUI when all this went down. So Spawn, in short, he's been charged with a first-degree felony for aggravated assault of an elderly person. He's been charged with robbery. And then he got charged for trying to use her credit card after he robbed them. That's where they picked him up and then identified him from the parking lot footage. Now, that one's only apparently a misdemeanor. The credit card one's only a misdemeanor, but he got 2 felonies. Bro, that first one, this up to 20 years. They charge him with aggravated assault of an elderly person because he pushed her down. When he took her purse, he pushed her down and she had to go to the hospital to be checked out. She was pretty bruised up. All because he's strung out, man. I mean, Ian's got addiction problems. He got evicted from his home. He's an addict. Brother went down a dark path, man. But I mean, that's what we were talking about. He's not going to have a good time with this, like in prison, because he's not. Dude, he's a nerdy white dude who's in there for beating up an old lady. I mean, he's not going to have any street cred. He's not built, dude. Bro. Yeah, he ain't got the minerals for that. I mean, he's a nerdy white dude who's going to be in there for hurting an old lady. Damn. Bro. And like we were saying, he's so far to the left with anti-Trump stuff and Trump derangement syndrome. The AB's probably not going to take him in unless he sucks dick really, really good. I'm just saying. Man, I shouldn't have gone there. I apologize. I shouldn't. Bad. I went too far. We went too far. All right, Kenneth, let's get over to your question. Kenneth says a new girlfriend's obsessed with you going down on her. It's your favorite. What's the problem? By being a little boy, not doing it very often, I need to man up and take care of her. Yeah, dude. Kenneth, listen up. Listen up. The girl likes you to dine at the Pink Taco. That's her favorite. Okay? So your words, it's her favorite. You need to be doing it every day. I mean, we can make exceptions for, Shark Week. Obviously, unless you're built like that. I'm personally not. I'm not doing, Shark Week like that. But realistically, yeah, dude, you need to just man up. Go be a little boy. Take care of your woman, or somebody else will. Just telling you how it is, brother. Peppermint said, I said in prison, Ian won't lift dumbbells. He will be the dumbbell. Yeah, I think that's accurate. Thank you, Coach. Needed to hear that. Morning and night, excluding the blood season, no excuse. Well, he doesn't necessarily morning and night, but he needs once a day. I think is reasonable. Especially if that's her thing. The thing is, man, that's what she likes. So, Kenneth, here's the thing. I get it. Not every dude loves doing it. So, some of us like it more than others, right? You're not wild about it, but you want her to do that thing you like, right? That's how it works. All right. So, and I was hoping this one would be crazy like this morning, that this could have been a record day. We'll see. There's still time that this is still young. It could fill up with supers. That this morning was crazy. We did $78 in super chats. I spent 3 years in the UK. So coffee chat this morning was just on fire. Supers have been pretty good. Membership's been good. Long story short, I need to man up. You need to man up, Kenneth. Kenneth, bro. We don't know. There's possible some different pills. He is an alcoholic, though. Ian is definitely an alcoholic. But there's supposedly some other possible pain pills and stuff in this whole mix. I don't know. He and I fell out. He got belligerent with me after I've tried to help him before. Like other people chime in, they're like, well, someone needs to sit. Dude, a bunch of us tried to help you. That turned into a lost cause. It's a little bit late. Kind of late for that now, guys. The dude's facing multiple violent felonies. Not a lot fitness coaches and fitness people can do about it. Plus, by this, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, dude, you pushed down and robbed an old lady. Kind of see where the kind of the hardliner in me, the hard ass, kind of goes, you know what, dude? You assaulted and robbed an old lady. If you really did it, because again, it's only alleged. If you were truly guilty of that because of your addiction, no, dude, you can go spend some time in prison. And that's where he belongs. If that is entirely true. I mean, it's looking pretty bad on the evidence. Not saying it's alleged. Because we are innocent until proven guilty in this country. I remember when he was beefing with the Hodgson, right? I remember that whole thing too. Cupcake fitness, man. Right? Who's this guy, man, over here? No bullshit bodybuilding, man. Woo! That was 2012. That was all the way back in 2012. Yeah, he was beefing with the Hodgson. Oh, man. Those were the days. Yep. Those were the days. Yeah, he needs to learn how to pick his battles. Yeah, like that one was going to go well. It's time to get in them walls, man. Tell him, Connor. Yeah, man. Like Connor Ellis over here told you, Kenneth. You get up in there and just lick them walls, man. That's what you need to do. Do whatever the F you want to do, though. It's just advice. Dude, they were entertaining as hell back in the day. They were entertaining. They were entertainment gold. But again, it was like the Wild West back then. Like YouTube was like the Wild West. Like you didn't know what craziness we were going to do. I mean, look at all the crazy stuff I even pulled in. No, they went over to politics, Connor. You don't know what the Hodge twins did? You're going to laugh, man. They went full MAGA and they run a whole giant page on Facebook called Conservative Twins, and they're like super pro Donald Trump, and they do nothing but political commentary. And they're making money. I don't like him. I'm not a Tate fan at all, not even remotely. I don't like Andrew Tate. Well, they lift, obviously, but they went over to politics. Michael Hearn stuck to his roots. He did. Michael Hearn stayed true all the way through to this day. Michael Hearn is sticking to that natty life, that natty bodybuilder life, power building. You got to give Mike credit for consistency, though. That guy's never really wavered in what he's done or his message. You know, power bodybuilding. I mean, and it's worked for him. You know, Mike is very consistent. I don't like the trends really. I think they're clowns. Just my opinion. I don't really follow them. It just seems like a bunch of clownery dudes using tons and tons of drugs. I don't know. They have some antics of some type. I don't follow it. I see it through my feed, but I'm just not of interest in dudes who are going to promote young dudes to do tons of trend. It's just not healthy. You know, to each their own. I mean, if they're making money, they're making money. That's their business model. Thoughts on Mike Israetel? Oh, man. Where do we want to go with that right now? Well, we know they're strong. I mean, they're jacked as hell and they're on tons of gear. We know they're, Justin, we know they're strong. They better be strong. The dudes are thick as hell and on tons of trend, presumably. I would expect that they're pretty damn strong. You can look at them and tell they're strong. I mean, I don't think that's in question. I mean, those dudes are thick. I mean, I'm not going to claim these dudes aren't jacked as hell. They're jacked and stacked. Some people evolved on YouTube like Alpha Destiny, right? But he's still an insecure dude, little short dude at the end of the day. He still never got over that. Dude's still taking pops at me. It's like you learned all this stuff from me and dude's still taking pops at me. Like, are you serious, strap-on Destiny? Yeah, you missed all the Dro. It's like 20 minutes. Nitro, you can go check it all out, man. We went in detail about all this. Ian's probably not getting out of prison anytime soon. Yeah, no, so strap-on made a pop. Peppermint can tell you. Strap-on made a pop. I was talking about me making no progress. I'm about to be 40. I turn 49 next month. I upped my cardio, lost body fat, and built my conditioning up this year. I still pause bench 350 for a 2-second pause. You guys are watching me do 6 rep sets with 500 pounds on the deadlift as a man who's about to turn 49 and does cardio. And he got up and said, you know, Blaha hasn't made any progress in a long time. It's really, you know, because of the, like, seriously? The dude literally got up and claimed that a man who was about to turn 50 who does rep work with 500 pounds on the deadlift every workout and does rep work with 315 on the bench. Then I did 18 reps with 225 pause bench afterwards the other day. On my back down work, put 225 on, I did 18 pause reps. Guys, I'm 48 years old. I'll go under 200 probably next year. Probably 2026, I'll drop down under 200. I'm kind of happy sitting around 210. I'm going to eventually go down under 200. I will trim down to that leaner. I'm taking my time. I'm not in a hurry. But I went from like 225 down to 210-ish this year already. So I don't even need to cut that same weight again. You know, so I did that in a period of time. So what if I do that again this coming year? Keep getting stronger, work on my overall GPP, work on my conditioning, because I've been doing all my GPP work and sled work and all my cardio. And then we get a little leaner again. Get down to 190, 195. And I think that will be solid. So I get up there and turn 50 next year. Man, I'd like to get up to where, like, hey, let's see if we can bench at least 365, weigh it under 200 at 50 years old. You know, I think that's I don't know if I'll bench 400 ever again. That may not be in the cards. And you know what, Justin? That's okay. I'm just going to get as strong as I can. I'm going to push dips again for a bit. I'm going to really push the dips up and see if it makes my bench climb back up. Lots of dips. Get real strong on those deep stretch weighted dips again. Get real strong on my weighted chins. You know, I don't want to get fat though, Justin. I feel like I'd have to get fat to do it. It's not worth it to me. You know, not at my age. I don't think I need to bulk or gain fat at this point. What's an impressive natty bench for someone under 200? I'm going to say anything over 315 in that case is fairly impressive. For somebody who's natty under 200 pounds, anything over 315. Because let's set aside freak genetics. Because the difference between what's impressive versus what is freak genetics. Do you have to have freak genetics to be impressive? Like, do you have to be in the top 10th of a percentile genetically to be impressive? So 390? Oh, definitely. No, dude, I'd say 400 in that case would be freak genetics. So no, that's not impressive. That's freak. That's a genetic freak. 350 would be elite. No, future 350 is already elite. 400 is freak. Your mama said I got freak genetics. You know what, Justin? Your mom said I got freak genetics. What you got now? I think your mom took too much Tylenol, bro. Same as 405 squat and 500 deadlift, right? This is where I go. So I had an impressive squat as a noob. I squatted over 405 at 190, completely natty. Just eat Debo sandwiches for breakfast and you just swallow. Maybe. I got to 405 squat doing nothing but Widowmakers and stuff. That's literally my whole program. It took me like a year. I know, right? Jason, you on creatine? Yes. I take 5 grams of creatine monohydrate every day. That they're cell tech, that they're cypionate tech, right? I do a replacement dose of SIP, puts me at them 18-year-old levels again. Is creatine a game changer? No. And we know when coach does a 405, it's a proper 405. Got to realize they're most likely not natty, right? I mean, I stay in the high end of the reference range without giving any specific numbers because it's nobody's business. I'm on the high end of the reference range on the blood work. So we're on a very robust TRT protocol. Can creatine make you jump higher, like a 3% boost? No, probably not. Best case, maybe a 0.5% boost. It's not a game changer. It's slightly useful. I like to watch Mikey's old vlogs to get you hyped up to bench, right? Well, Justin, they lied to you, unfortunately. Unfortunately, they lied to you. Oh, man, this is not going to replicate. I thought for sure when we had that morning it was going to be a replication this afternoon. Because that's been weird. Anytime my mornings are hot, the afternoon turns into just like a bunch of supers popping up. No, I'm not. Can we quit talking about these weirdos? This is a strength and fitness channel. Why you guys keep bringing this nonsense up? Let's see when Justin made this account. Go to channel. He made it today. Justin Evans made it today. And he in here. Big Lenny is dead. Let him be. All right. What else we got going on, guys? Get some other topics going. My newest joke post for the Facebook. Everybody's gangster until a cockroach starts flying. Right? I don't know who Eric Scott is. Oh. Kapow! And you're out of here. That was easy enough. Joe cookie cutter butt out of here. Mikey was in the 350s, I think, on his bench. Right? Not 350. 350. That's 350. You know, $3.50. Michael Trent's my favorite natural duck egg. He's my favorite natural duck egg, too. My favorite natural the frog, also. How the veins doing today? Let's get a vein rating. I thought I saw you put some do a 363 bench. Probably about right. Awesome. Appreciate it, BMW. Now we up in the flow. I want to see how this day pans out after that morning. What are some supplements any man over 30 should start taking? Not necessarily that they should automatically. I'd consider creatine, maybe a protein powder post-workout. Not necessarily you need to take anything. Depends on what you're trying to do. Do you have to ramp up for Widowmaker sets? No. I don't ramp up a lot for anything. So let's say you're going to Widowmaker with 315. Yeah, man, do a rep with 135. Do a rep with 225. It would be nice if we had one day, just one day per week, like only one day per week where no one talks about vegan gains being on steroids in a live stream. Like maybe let's just make that a Sunday rule. You guys can ask it all the other days of the week. Maybe on God's day, you guys abstain from that question just for Sunday. Because y'all gonna ask it 6 times on Monday. But I think it would be reasonable of me to say, hey, we just set one day a week where nobody talks about vegan gains and steroids. So I think it needs to be on the Lord's Day on Sunday. We can make that our rule. Because you're going to ask 6 times on Monday at least. So we're just going to pretend we didn't see that question. So on the Lord's Day, we're going to ignore all questions about vegan gains and steroids. Fair? We're going to honor the Sabbath. But I appreciate the super there, Connor. All right. I think that's reasonable. Yeah. What does everybody else think? Everybody agree? Can we get an amen? I said, can we get an amen from the congregation? On the Sabbath, we're not going to ask about vegan gains and steroids, only the other 6 days of the week. I said, can I get an amen from the congregation? I don't see any amens. There we go. James said, amen. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Appreciate it, James. Appreciate your show of support. That on the Lord's Day, We abstain from that question. About to have a permanent ban on vegan stains combos. All right. Oh, that's just how it has to be. I'll check how many views is this up to. I thought the views would be higher. Connor dropping the Orc Warriors. We got a lot of. The channel's got 22 members right now. One of them is actually at that high tier. Actually, Luke, who comes through here sometimes. He did the. Have you seen Michael Hearn in person? No, I have not. Remember, we had that one situation. We did have that little situation a number of years back, if you do recall, where he threatened to slap me in the sugar tits, and I threatened to smoke that ass. And then we had to sit down and have a whole talk with Sheila about it, because she owned the gym or the venue. And I had to talk. We had to sit down and talk about it, and then she had to call him. No, that was Lane Norton. And then he didn't pony up. He made an agreement, and then I showed the records, and then he didn't want to pay. The agreement was I had to show, I think, what was it, that he had to pay me for whatever, it was like 1 month, or was it 3 months payment of my YouTube income? Just my YouTube. And then I went and notarized it. I went to the bank and showed the Google deposits and had the bank notarize the thing, and then he backed out. He agreed to it in public. But he didn't realize how much money my YouTube made at the time. I notarized it and then sent him a copy. It was hilarious, because he was thinking my YouTube made like $1,000 a month. Oh no, not at that time. And I go drop in that paper showing, let's see, they paid me $4,700 last month, $4,400 this month. Was down the road. It's like, and I notarized it. The bank notarized it for me, the bank manager, of the printout of the deposits from all the Google deposits into the bank account. And he agreed to it formally, and then he backed out when he realized how much money it was. He was like, are you serious? So it was really funny, because, dude, I had a lot of traffic back then. Like, I was doing all the controversial stuff. Like, it was normal for my channel to clear like 4,500 in deposits. That's not before their cuts. That's what they were putting in direct deposit every month at the time. So, he agreed to it. It was after that. That was during the lawsuit situation. That was in the UK. I'm talking here in the US. I was in the US already. But I was honest about it. People were saying at the time, like, what's your YouTube make? And I told them, and people thought I was lying. So then, like, okay, so then he made that agreement. So I just went to the bank, and they notarized all the Google deposits. And I'm like, well, here it is. It's the bank manager, who was a notary, they notarized it and stamped it. It's actually official. Like, witnessed notary from my bank that this was their printout showing all the deposits. Like, this would stand in court. And I told people back then, they're like, well, what is your YouTube making at those days? And I'm like, it cleared over 50,000 every year. And then people say, no, he must mean before they're cut. And I'm like, no, that's what I was paying taxes on. That was what my tax returns were showing, and the bank deposits. When he saw that he's going to pay me like $12,000 or something crazy, he was like, oh, hell no. But he agreed to it. Hey, Coach, thoughts on supplementing with DHA and pregnenolone? I would not. Why? No. I'm going to say no to the DHEA. Is he in full natty? I don't know, man. Now we just be dropping the soap. There's going to be something injected. in that backside. I don't know, man. Go get some sort of testosterone injection. Yeah, he definitely backed off. Is it possible to bench 405 naturally being lean and not a fat 300 pounds? Pretty unlikely. Pretty unlikely, Lou. So, are you asking is something hypothetically possible? Or are you asking is this a probability? Are you asking me, is there a snowball's chance in hell of an average genetic guy doing it? So the probability of a natural guy doing it is about the probability that Ian McCarthy's butthole is going to survive prison coming up here with this assaulting an elderly person charge if he gets 20 years as a nerdy white dude in Atlanta prison. Not the same probability that his booty hole is going to survive. Hey, Coach, why don't you do a recorded podcast talking to some other good coaches? Chad, are you wanting to do a podcast? Is that what you're saying? You want to sit down and do a round table with Coach? Because you're a pretty good coach. So is this what you're asking me? I'm sure you've seen the video of the Asian guy benching 405 and 150. Why are we still talking about that powerlifter? You do know that was a fraud, right? Okay, everybody knows this was a fake. Why are we pretending this was real? That was a fraud for ad revenue money. The whole thing was fake. I've discussed this before in detail. Yeah, so a guy living in the U.S. repeatedly sets world records over and over and over in the gyms on camera, refuses to go to a meet, monetizes it, makes 20, 30 grand off the ad revenue, and then claims, I'm preparing for a meet. I'm going to get ready for a meet and go do this. And then didn't go to the meet. You're telling me the whole time this guy is breaking the world records 25 times on camera, setting a world record over and over and over in commercial gyms, he never managed to get to a meet. While living in a city to where there were meets within 30 minutes drive 3 or 4 times a year. Well, Lou, what do you think? You're telling me that a person is going to break world records for a year and a half over and over and over in the gym and then conveniently back out whenever people want him to do meets and then claim he's going to do meets and not do it while making money? Nobody would ever lie for $30,000, Jason. People would never fake or lie to make $20,000 or $30,000. They wouldn't do it. Lou, you can't make a bar bend a little bit using a whippy bar? What type of bar did he use? Was it a meat certified tensile strength bar? Do you know the tensile strength of the bar? What brand was it? I use very specific brands. You know their tensile strength, their meat legal bars. You can estimate how much they'll bend with my plates. An engineer can do it. What bars did he use? What's their tensile strength in PSI? In other words, you got fooled like all these other kids. So why are we still talking about it like it was real? He just conveniently broke all those world records all the time on camera, made a bunch of money doing it. Lou, what I'm saying is he broke world records off camera repeatedly and made a bunch of money doing it. And refused to document it in a real competition. If you could break world records at the bench press, and you did it routinely, wouldn't you just go show up at a meet and do it? Do you know how easy it is to just show up to a USPA or an SPF meet or something in the US? You know how easy it is to just walk in into a certified meet and do this? You understand how insanely easy that is? All he has to do is register for the meet, go buy a membership and show up at meet day and weigh in and inspect his equipment, know the rules and walk in and do it. Costs about $100 to just walk in, drive 30 minutes. Oh, here's a meet coming up. I got to buy a membership. That's going to cost me whatever, $70. I got to register for the meet, $25, and just show up and break world records. Tell me, over a year, he couldn't do that. But he could film at the gym and get paid tens of thousands of dollars for the footage. If you believe that, I have some real estate for sale that I'd like to sell you. I got some oceanfront property in Arizona that I will give you for pennies on the dollars, dude. Bro, no, seriously, I got some real estate there I want to sell you. Beautiful, beautiful oceanfront property there. Dude, I'll give it to you for only $500 an acre. Right? No, it's pathetic as anybody's stupid enough to believe it. We're back over to no. That's not the pathetic part. The pathetic part is that people think it was real. When you look at the whole story of people challenging him to do meets and him not doing it while making thousands of dollars every month off all his video footage on a monetized channel. It's called a hustle. Y'all got took. You got bamboozled, run amok, led astray. He clowned y'all. All the real lifters looked at it live. We all knew what was going on. Everybody knew. I spy. She wants us to rate her. If you bold. I don't know. You're going to need to drop a super chat. Let's rate her. Go to the channel. I'm going to give you a solid 5 out of 10. All right. What's up? All right. Tell them bloodshed. It's unreal, man. I'll give you a solid 5 out of 10. They're all inspired by the great Brad Castleberry, right? Big Brad Castleberry. That power building. Dude, that got ugly. You remember when Big Boy and that whole crew rolled up on him at that expo? He left his booth and went in the back there like, you need to show up and do some meets. What are you hating, girl? I gave you I said you're a solid 5. Solid 5. You know? It's not even you. We know that's not real. But, I gave you a solid 5, girl. Why don't get upset? Step up your game. I wouldn't risk being a fake plate influencer might F around and get pressed by the straight cartel. Dude, because I don't think that was staged. I think they showed up on him pissed off over possible fake weights. Like, dude. They're like 5 big old Mexican dudes rolling up on there talking trash. It's like, yeah, man, you might want to just back off at this point, bro. Because whatever you think, whatever you want a big boy, but the dude was all of 350 pounds, deadlifting 800 at the time, and he's got backup, and they're over here in your face. It's like, yeah, man, I'm just going. You know what, dude? I'm gonna go just walk away. Yeah, Brad got out of there. I remember on camera. He's like, no, man, I don't want this. I don't want this smoke. And you can't, honestly, you can't blame him, dude. Like, you can't even look at that and go, oh, you're just a big pussy. It's like, no, dude, there's a point where you go, man, this butt whooping is not worth it. I'm trying not to cuss. This whooping is not worth it. Yeah, there was a bunch of some beef with all that in the year. But Chad, you really can't blame him. I wouldn't even go, oh, you're being a pussy. It's like, yeah, no, man. If you're not about to go weapons hot at this point, it's time that you need to walk away. Because, because he wasn't there alone either. I mean, he's strong and juicy to the eyebrows, but the argument was the probable fake weights. Hey, Connor, is that whose side of the story? You ever talked to Sarah firsthand? All I'm going to say is I have heard her side of the story in a call. And I left all that call private. And I told you guys at one point later, yes, and it was confirmed. I had another witness. Because we had a big conference call, and my ex-girlfriend was witness to this call. She was there. She's like, can I be part of this? And they said, yeah. So her and her boyfriend, they sat down and we had a call. They wanted me to hear the story and decide if I wanted to cover it later. And I said, I don't when it's done, but they sent me all the info, a bunch of stuff. They told me her side of the story. They knew I did do current events and they wanted to throw it out there if I wanted to decide if I wanted to cover it. That's not her side of the story, Connor. Now, when you hear both sides of a story, you have to figure out where the truth is, right? The truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Right? But that wasn't her side of the story. Wasn't her side of the story. No. But yeah, we all heard the argument clip and the hitting. Yeah. She's using to get that green card. Now that might be true, Chad. Sad to hear about Ian. Not sure what happened, but heard he had a lot of mental health and financial issues. Areas ice spices out of here. So actually, the guy who showed up at my door, his name is Jesus, by the way. His legal name is Jesus. And he did not try to do smoke. He pretended to be a salesman until I made him leave at gunpoint. I did not know who he was online and his other associations at the time. I had to find out later. So about the guy who was told to leave at gunpoint, yeah, just stop. All right. And he is very lucky I did not know who he was that day. He had to be later identified. Next. Sad to hear you. I'm not sure. John watched the whole first part of the video. I went into detail. But yeah, no, I mean, could we say that she was probably using him for the green card? Probably. I don't think we could say that as a fact, but is it sus? Yeah, definitely sus. I wouldn't rule that out at all. You know what I mean, Chad? I would say there's no doubt. I think there's doubt. There's a lot of questions to be asking on that. Is it a very strong possibility? I think so. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. That whole situation was messed up, you know? The whole situation was messed up. But we finally got a real troll. We didn't get any this morning when all them supers were flat. They left all that alone. But I don't want to go into it at this point because this is water under the bridge, and I did chose not to cover it. I'm not going to go into the full details, Piana said, and I was made privy to with the conversation over the phone, some stuff with her mom was too. I'm very aware of some stuff they fought about with the gear being stolen. Like I actually, but Chad, keep in mind, I have heard her side of the story. But like we always say, there's two sides to a story. Hear both sides of a story and then see where the truth is, and somewhere in the middle is going to be the truth. His side, her side. I mean, considering the psychological profile, I don't know that her side is a lie. I don't know that her side is a lie. But I do know that he beat the holy hell out of her afterwards and put her like to the point where she went to the hospital. She pressed charges, a whole lot of stuff. And I have seen the police pictures. So, and I chose not to release those. I chose not to release it. I was sent copies of all of it. So the whole thing is pretty bad. I think there's a whole lot of messed up stuff. You know, I think there's a whole lot of messed up stuff that happened, and I think that whole marriage was one hell of a fiasco. But what would you expect? This is Rich Piana. You know, do we expect Rich Piana to have lived just a normal life? Yep. So why do you think she did it, Connor? If her side of the story is correct, I'm not saying stealing is right. But does it make sense? Would what she did? Is there any scenario where it could be justified? I'm like, it sounded justified. Not saying two wrongs make a right, but the lesser of two evils. You know, I get where she was coming from. Now the whole thing is one big hell of a bunch of crimes and everything. I mean, this whole thing is illegal, right? That wasn't tit for tat. Let's just put it this way: he was very controlling. She had no bank account. She had access to nothing. Yep. So, I mean, do you want me to just say it? Kyle, you donate a lot of money. Do you want an exclusive of really what I recall from the story? In short, he gave her no access to any money. She had no bank account. She lived off of whatever he allowed her to have. Her mother got sick, was in the hospital. She wanted to fly out of the country back to go see her, and he told her no. She's like, my mom is sick. She's having a surgery in the hospital. She might die. I want to fly back home to see my mom in the hospital. He told her no. She sold his gear back to, had Big Boy them steal some of it, sold it back to his chemist Red to get money for the plane ticket for the trip. So she could fly back and see her mom while she was in the hospital. So she was going to buy a round trip ticket to go there and then come back. was her side of the story, was to buy that plane ticket, because he told her, no, I'm not giving you a ticket. That's her side of the story. So she stole the drugs to get money for the plane ticket, because he didn't allow her to have a bank account. Like, he controlled everything. Mind you, both of his previous wives claimed domestic violence and beating and controlling. This is number 3 in a row with the same claims. Does it seem out of character? So that's a really dangerous move. I agree. So, Connor, the whole situation is messed up, start to finish. Right? Dangerous move on her part. Well, she paid a price for it. She got a hell of a beating for it. But you look at the whole thing and go, this is a whole bunch of bad. Now, are we looking for a right and wrong in all of this? I don't know that there's any good people in this situation. This dysfunctional relationship. So why did his ex? So why did she, Chad? So do women ever do that? Hey, Chad, you ever seen a woman totally in love with a dude long term who gets with a man who she knows is abusive? Because mind you, Chad, it wasn't just one ex-wife claiming this. This was apparently brought up in his divorce. This is one reason his first wife got most of his company during the divorce, because of the domestic violence. I knew his second wife. We were friends. She's dead now, by the way. She told me the same story. I was friends with her on Facebook. She used to send me stuff. Had a couple of calls, chatted about all of it. Same stories from her. Beat, abusive, control. Get to wife number 3. You heard the call while he was doing it. Now, did she probably get with him over green card? Probably. I mean, so I'm not saying you're wrong there, but I think there's a chance of that, definitely. I certainly wouldn't rule that possibility out. It's not an unreasonable conclusion. But then you come over to Chanel. I don't know, dude. Now, here's the thing. He said Chanel got back with him after he dropped her and married another girl. As his assistant and side piece, he cut her loose and married another woman. I don't know, man. And then Chanel still got back with him, knowing he's a violent abuser and an addict. But do women do that? So, I mean, Chad, you're like, why would she do that? You've never seen women get back with an abusive man? Ever? She got back with him. Although, interesting that he laid there. She tried to resuscitate him. And he hit his head. I'm just saying. I don't know, maybe Chanel and some of that fiasco kind of said, you know what, man? You kicked me to the curb as your side piece and married this model. Maybe she didn't try too hard to resuscitate him. We don't know what else happened that day. I'm just saying. We don't know what really happened that day, that night. I don't know. I watched her body language and drew my own possible conclusions. But we know he was a violent, abusive man. I mean, hell, he even slapped Genova. We have 3 exes who all at different points got police reports or court things involving him being violent, abusive, and controlling. 3 ex-wives. That's a pretty heavy set of claims. Are we saying we know it beyond a shadow of a doubt? But if you're a betting man, I don't know, man. When you see a guy like that who you have seen showing a propensity, right? Well, it's not gossiping. EJ, it's not gossip when I've been told direct by 2 different women. I've been told directly by the victims, directly. That's no longer gossip. Hey, he did this to me. Hey, here's the pictures of my broken nose and battered body that the police took. Is that gossip? Just saying, EJ. Does that qualify as gossip? I was presented evidence, and I've heard the same story from multiple people from the separate occasions. Hey, this is what he did to me. Here's the pictures, and we've heard the audio. Right? He was high on oxys, actually. Was it? You know what I mean? Yeah, let's not inflame, but I mean, we can. No, ex-wives can't always be trusted, and that was my point, EJ. And if it was only one, I would say, yeah, no, that we definitely can. But man, 3 with the same behavior being described, 3 different ones who maybe didn't even like each other. Just saying, context. Second wife gets around, maybe they don't like the first ex-wife. They don't always get along. I'm just, so you see where I'm going? Are you a betting man? If you were forced to put real money on that, given the behavior you saw from him firsthand, the screaming recording, the hitting there, hitting Genova. Not saying we should always, I agree, we shouldn't always just accept an ex-wife's, especially a bitter ex-wife. A bitter ex's testimony by itself, I agree with you. Absolutely. This happens. People lie, especially if they're vengeful towards an ex. Absolutely. And you didn't hear their testimony. So, but what am I supposed to believe? You see what I mean? I'm not telling you what you have to believe because you didn't hear these discussions. I heard this stuff firsthand. Like, okay, I formed my own opinions. Okay. Hey, Connor, I find it a bit shady. Well, there we go. And I agree. So here's the point, Connor. Did I say there was any good guys in this situation? Did I say that she was necessarily just a pinnacle of virtue? I mean, she allowed herself to get with someone who she was warned was a violent thug. As others said, possibly to get a green card. There's some other stuff in her desperation. There was some theft. There were some felonies committed. I mean, technically stealing dealer amounts of anabolic steroids, and having them in your possession is already a crime. Stealing them, selling them. So, your point is valid. But, the whole thing is messed up. And I agree. She got herself into that situation, knowing the very real possibility that these rumors were true and what she had heard was true. Right. His whole world was ridiculous. Right. His whole world was ridiculous, and now the man is dead. As Chad said, he was a king for a while, and that empire has crumbled. I'm going to read a piece of poetry to you guys. That reminded me of a poem. I'm going to read. You can find a proper copy of it. Ozymandias is the name of the poem. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert, neither them on the sand. Half shrunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lips and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor, while the passions red, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appeared. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare. The lone and level sand stretched far away." Right? Christiana seemed to attract the same type of woman, got himself into similar situations. Yeah. Which, I think a lot of us can relate to in our own way. So, but that's the same thing, it was Ozymandias, and it's look upon my works, ye mighty, in despair. But then there was nothing left. It's barren sands around the statue. Right. It's actually a fairly famous poem. That's a great point. And I think that's the interesting thing too. It is symbolic of sometimes our works and our kingdom and the things that we build, it will eventually crumble and turn to dust. Occasionally it doesn't. Your kingdom will one day crumble into dust, just like Ozymandias. Not trying to be a nihilist or black pill, but just be aware of that. Not saying don't build your kingdom, brothers. Not telling you that at all. But sometimes think about what happens to that kingdom after you're gone. What's your legacy going to be after? Or are you in it for the moment? And I think that's something that all men need to contemplate. When you are carving your own way out in this world and looking at the empire or kingdom that you're going to try to build, you know, of asking yourself, what are you really trying to get out of it? What do you want out of it? And are you trying to build something for that moment? Or are you looking for a legacy that's going to last? Thus you are and thus you return. But we come back to maybe the existential crisis that all men have to go through, especially men of ambition. Which Chad, you strike me as a man of a certain amount of ambition. We've had conversations, right? You know, the stuff that we have to think about. That's what you leave behind. Will they remember you? I mean, that's a good question, Chad. What parts of your legacy remain behind? Right? Alex says, just fell asleep while listening to this, woke up and it's still going. In the dream, I was trying to figure out why no matter what I did, I couldn't turn it off. People come to my house. What's that noise? Like, that is Coach Blaha preaching the gospel of the iron game. That's what they were hearing. And we went into a lot of stuff here today. I don't know. We'll see how this does later. I think I'm going to wind it down, though, guys. I've done a lot of talking today. We've had a very successful super chat type of day, though. We had a lot of views. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a bicep shot before we go. Oh. And I'm out of here. Take care, brothers.